Okay, here we are. Wild Warrior here. Today's tutorial, advanced mechanics of redstone components and hoppers. We're going to throw hoppers in there today. Alright, first we'll start with the hoppers. The basics of hoppers are simple. It transfers items from item holding containers to other item holding containers. In this instance, we have a furnace and chests. So we'll take and we'll throw in some stone into the chest, and it will immediately start heading on down, getting cooked. Now if we put coal into the side or the back or even the front of the furnace, it'll feed it into the fuel slot. Once it's cooked, it is transferred down to the bottom chest. Placing and attaching furnaces is simple. You just crouch and you place it, and you have to be touching the direction or the block on the side you want it to face. So if you want it to go down, it's like that. If you want it to go side, now it's directed into the side of that hopper. Okay. Now, if you want to stop a hopper, all you have to do is direct a redstone signal into it. In this case, I used blocks on the side of it. If I turn on the blocks, then the hopper is essentially stopped. The flow stops. So if I turn on this block here, it's going to keep these in the top chest. If I allow the flow, it's going to send them through into the next locked one. If I turn this one off as well, it's going to send them all the way through, because none of the hoppers are no longer hit with redstone or fired or signaled. Anyway, moving on. If you have stacked hoppers and you're trying to run horizontally over the top of them, the bottom hopper is going to pull the items from the top first. Every single time. So if I send items from this chest and I want them to go over to here, okay, so let's turn this hopper on and let's turn this hopper on. All the items, we would want them to go to here. Well, they're not going to. They're going to get pulled directly out from the bottom first. If there's a hopper beneath, it is pulling first. So what you do, in this case, you would turn on the power for this hopper so that it shuts off. Nothing else comes through. Now it's going to send it where you directed it. They're heading on over like a charm. Okay, last but not least, not too many people know about this. I came across it. I've used both ways. But if you're trying to pull a signal off a hopper, you must remember that vertical transfer does intermittent signal, and a horizontal transfer does a solid signal. I know that sounds weird, but let me show you. You can sense the signals coming off there, but they're not going to. This one's never going to be a solid signal. It's always going to have an intermittent signal coming off it. This one is never going to be intermittent. It's always going to be a solid signal. Why that is beats me, but I came across it, and I hope it helps you just as much as it helped me. Okay, on to repeaters. Da-da-da. Repeaters have the ability to lock each other. So, if I have a signal coming through this repeater, and I stick a repeater, direct it into the side of this repeater and turn it on, it's going to lock this repeater. I can't do nothing with that repeater now. It's like memory. You're locking it. So, if I turn this off, and we turn this off, you can also lock it in the off position. It doesn't matter which state the repeater is in, you can lock it on or off. Okay. Another thing with repeaters is they delay time. The time it takes for the signal to move. So that was pretty fast. See that? Pretty quick. Now, if I add 3 ticks to each of these, I believe it's 4 ticks to a second. I'm not certain. I have to look into that. You can Google it yourself real easy too. But it takes considerably longer for the signal to move through the repeater the more ticks you give it. Right now they're maxed out, and you can see that it takes a good long time. Okay. Redstone torches. Redstone torches can be placed on the side of blocks and on the top of blocks. You can also place blocks on top of redstone torches. Redstone torches work really well to invert the signal and to send power. Okay, so if right now this block is powered. If I unpower it, this inverted signal will be changed to the opposite. It's going to be powered. So if this block's off, then this redstone torch is on. And it keeps reversing the more times you invert it, because it's going to invert the signal. So if we have the power coming into this block just the way it is, with zero, there's no repeater coming into it. We call that soft powered. However, you cannot bring a signal off of a soft powered block unless you use a repeater. Or you can hard power the block with the repeater, and it powers all the existing redstone around it. Now that block is hard powered, and you can pull a signal off a hard powered block. Okay. Okay. This is what I don't know what other people call it, but I call it a vertical tower. It's doing the same thing as this redstone line here. It's just sending the signal up. And you can end with whatever state you want it to be in, right? I could have stopped it down here and it'd have been off, or it could have been up there for on. That tower sends a signal straight up. No matter what, it's gonna get there. On, off. Okay. Now there's 2 ways you can go back down. And these are kind of like wireless redstone, but they're not. So you can come down 1 block and over 2 blocks. Put a redstone on top so that the signal jumps all the way down. Or you can come down 2 blocks, like I did here, come down 2 blocks and over 1, so that you're underneath the torch picking up the signal, and that's how you come straight down. Either way works. It just depends on what you need for your situation. Okay. On to comparators. Comparators, as we said on episode number 1, that they sense how much items are in other item holding containers. Okay. Another thing they can do is take a signal coming into the side of them, or another comparator with an item chest. Okay, so in this chest we have, what's this, 18 stacks. In this chest, let's start it in the normal position. In this chest we have less than 18 stacks. If we have less than 18 stacks, okay, let me explain. This comparator is telling this comparator when to fire. So now this one is not going to come on until there are the same amount of items in this chest as there are in the chest controlling it, which is this chest. So this chest is in control, the one going into the side. This chest isn't going to turn on. Let me get in position here. This chest isn't going to turn on until it matches. See that? It's now on because we matched. We have the same amount. That's how you control a comparator from the side with another comparator. Now let's say we wanted to do it with just a regular old signal. Well, depending on how strong the signal is coming into the side is what's going to regulate how much signal comes out of it. So if we start here, we're right next to this thing. Well, hold on. I gotta have a redstone block here. There we go. So that is now either a 14 or a 15 power source coming into the side of this. We will not be able to see power coming out of it until we have matched that amount of power. Boom, once it's full, it sends the signal 15 blocks. However, if we take two-thirds of these out and we run our signal back here, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks out. Now that's about half of 15, right? So this isn't going to turn on until we get about half full. Okay, so we're going to be more than half full. So 2/3 of the way full, it finally turns on at a 7-block or 8-block power source because we took 7 blocks away. There's 7 blocks out here. That means there's 8 blocks of power source left. So when this reaches that same percentage of power, it fires. Alright. Oh, the reverse comparator. See, there's another state for the comparator. This state right there. See that? Okay, so we'll use another comparator coming into the side to match this. We have 2/3 here. We have 2/3 here. If we take 1 block away, let's recap, and we add a block, it's going to add this much power, or this much power is going to be shown across here, more than 2/3, or more than 2/3. If you have this on action, that means that even if it's matched, if this is less or matched, it's not going to come on. But the moment we go past it, the moment we use this chest and go past this chest, so as soon as I add a stack to this chest, I should have turned on. Hold on. Does this have to be on 2? No. Maybe it's more than 1 stack. Okay. So as soon as the second stack came in, it turned on 1 power source. Not the 2/3 power source like that showed, because we've now matched this and gone beyond it. We're only going to show the power that goes beyond it. So now we're two blocks past it. It's going to give us 1 power source. Once we get 2 or 3 more stacks into it, it's going to give us another couple power sources. But it's never going to, see, there's another one. It's never going to go the full source because we have this one locked at starting at 2/3, right? 2/3. So we're only going to get 1/3 of the power to pop up here when this is completely full. I hope that made any sense at all. So now we're at 1/3 of the power length. And that would be it for the redstone comparator. Next up, we have timers and all their glorious uses. All the different ways you can make timers. Well, not all of them. That's never ending. That's never going to end. People are always going to be coming up with new ways. So, thanks for watching. I will have the next video out here soon. And y'all have a good one. Wild Warrior out.